basement door creaked open under its own weight, a silent sentinel marking the threshold between light and shadow. Basement Betty, her eyes sunken and hollow, stood in the dim glow of the flickering lamp, her breaths heavy and labored. The walls around her were lined with dusty crates and rusting tools, each one an old memory waiting to be disturbed. A cold wind swept through the room, carrying whispers that sounded like sobs. The door at the far end of the basement groaned slightly on its hinges, as if alive with a malevolent will. Basement Betty approached it hesitantly, her hand reaching out towards the handle. The air grew colder as she neared, and an unnatural silence fell around her. Suddenly, the door burst open, slamming into her with force. She stumbled back, clutching her chest in agony as the crawling thing emerged from the darkness. It was a creature of pure malevolence, its skin mottled and twisted, its eyes glowing red like infernos. Betty screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the void. A shadowy figure stepped into view behind the crawling thing, a man cloaked in black, his face obscured by shadows. He spoke without moving his lips, his voice a chilling whisper that echoed through the basement. "Welcome, Basement Betty. We have been expecting you." The crawling thing attacked her again, its claws tearing through flesh with ease. Betty struggled to escape, but the walls seemed to close in around her, trapping her in a nightmare of horror and pain. The man in black watched from the shadows, his eyes gleaming with sadistic glee as he enjoyed the suffering. As the crawling thing moved closer to Betty, she saw that its body was not solid. Each limb seemed to melt into the floor before her very eyes. Her screams grew louder, but no one came to her rescue. The man in black stepped forward, his hand reaching out towards her, and with a swift movement, he snatched her away. The crawling thing paused, its twisted form frozen in midair, as if it were petrified by the man's touch. Betty was carried deeper into the basement, away from the door that had opened on its own, and into a darkness so deep she would never see the light again. When the crawling thing finally moved, it did not attack Betty. It watched her with an empty gaze, as if it were waiting for something. The man in black stood by the door, his face still hidden in shadows, and he spoke again without moving his lips. "Welcome to our home, Betty. You are safe now." Betty's final scream was lost in the void of the basement, swallowed by the darkness that consumed her. As the crawling thing turned away, she could hear a low, rumbling sound coming from the door. It was closing, and this time it would not open again. The man in black stepped back, allowing the crawling thing to retreat into the shadows. He watched as the basement door shut with a finality that sent shivers down his spine. And then he turned, his face finally visible, revealing himself to be doorkeeper Dan, a creature of pure hatred and malice, dedicated to keeping Betty trapped in this nightmare for eternity. As the lights flickered off, leaving the basement in complete darkness, one thing was clear. Nothing could escape the basement door that opened itself, ever leave its grasp.